Hello, my name is Austin Henley, and I am here to discuss how specialty coffee brands can win with consumers in the new era. I know this is a tall order right now, so to begin, we all have to acknowledge a few things. We look around and see things that we thought we would never see or need to deal with, and the speed of change is absolutely unreal. That means that industries and brands must be agile and bold if they are to emerge as leaders in the new era. And frankly, if they want to keep pace with evolving consumer behaviors and motivations. In my current role as integrated marketing planner for the country's fastest growing tobacco company, Reynolds American, I challenge our teams to do just that, to demonstrate the company's ethos of a better tomorrow across every consumer touch point possible. That means not only ensuring big and bold communications at retail, but zeroing in on the moments that matter throughout the consumer journey and pushing them to consider emerging cultural, social, and even legislative sensitivities in their marketing planning. And also, as it pertains to this new era we find ourselves all thrusted into, it also means delivering plans that strengthen consumer connectivity through our digital touch points and channels. So when we talk about this new era or the new normal, I find it helpful to revisit where we are today. I think everyone can agree with the National Coffee Association words that says, we believe that coffee is more than just a drink. It's a culture, it's an economy, an art, a science, and a passion. Equally as interesting is the Specialty Coffee Association's stated vision to create an effective, authentic, and dynamic organization to give voice and substance to the possibilities for specialty coffee worldwide. And it's in these statements that I see the bold questions that specialty coffee should consider to be ready to take the new era by storm. First, showing up in unexpected ways, especially during consumer moments that matter, is gold. Which leads me to my first question. How can specialty coffee brands show up in unique and unlikely ways to delight and strengthen relationships with consumers? Second, inclusivity is a must and community impact is essential. Which leads me to my second question. How can specialty coffee brands strengthen the communities they serve in a nation at a cultural crossroads, thereby bringing more to the table? And third, brands are what they measure, and consumers are searching for brands that align with their own personal values. Which leads me to my final question. How can the specialty coffee industry begin to be bold in the demonstration of its ethos while driving consumer value and connectivity? With these key questions teed up, let's dive deep into each with an example of outside the industry. Answering the question of how can brands show up in unique and unlikely ways to delight and strengthen customers and relationships with customers, let's take a look at Heineken. Celebrating Dry January, Heineken was able to have fun exploring occasions where someone might want a beer but not alcohol. Dry January was every season in the United States and across the globe and is a part of an overarching trend led by the sober curious. As a beer brand embracing this month-long sober period, Heineken was able to create a fun contrast that consumers wouldn't see coming. With limited marketing dollars available at year-end, the company needed to embrace the power of a big idea rather than a big budget. Heineken's marketing strategy was looking for clever ways to connect with consumers by presenting the familiar in an unfamiliar way. Heineken spotted an opportunity in an unlikely place when more people resolute to go sober for the first month of the year as a part of their resolution. Heineken set out to be the brand of choice by spotlighting itself as having an alcohol-free version of its flagship brand. With messaging centered around "Now You Can," Heineken 0.0 gave the brand permission to show up in a place where the beer brands traditionally couldn't play. Even better, not only was it a great option for people who wanted a great tasting beer without the alcohol, research showed trial of Heineken Zero had the ability to increase consideration and purchase of Heineken during traditional beer drinking occasions. The effort generated over 280 million earned media impressions across news and social media. But more importantly, sales of Heineken 0.0 increased by 18% month over month in January, and its performance helped lift sales of the entire Heineken portfolio by 4%. Moving into my second bold question for specialty coffee. Here is how one company drove awareness, community impact, and ultimately a more inclusive workplace through a dynamic integrated marketing program. Delivering on Ally Financial's mission to do it right, Moguls in the Making provided Ally a beneficial opportunity to lead by example, ultimately positioning them as an inclusive and diverse company and a true champion of economic mobility. But what made this initiative so bold? Moguls in the Making provided a unique opportunity for 50 students to change their trajectory of their life with lifelong resources and skills through an unforgettable experience, as well as social conversations around the need for diversity to be present. The amplification and integration came when Ally decided to partner with rapper Big Sean, as both brands had a shared interest in helping young, underprivileged students find their best path forward. Success for Big Sean meant advancing the mission of his Sean Anderson Foundation and to hone his public image to reflect Sean Anderson, the entrepreneur. Success for Ally meant increasing awareness while instilling diversity and inclusion as a part of its brand narrative, and putting action behind the business challenge of creating a work environment where all backgrounds, experiences, interests, and skills are respected and represented. The seemingly unlikely partners executed an omni-channel campaign spanning across multiple consumer touchpoints. It started with social and PR promotion of the weekend activation, generating social and media buzz leading up and post competition weekend. Ally filmed a documentary that captured the emotional journey of the Moguls in the Making campaign to depict the journey of the students from competition weekend to their internships. Cut downs of the documentary were distributed across organic and paid digital social platforms and incorporated 5 micro-influencers and 2 celebrity influencers who drove their social audience to watch the documentary on YouTube. There was also branded content in support of this initiative across various digital channels such as Blavity, Afrotech, Travel Noir, Cheddar and Shadow, and Act channels. So what were the results? Moguls in the Making delivered staggering results in the following areas. Video content with 6 million views and 20 million impressions. They garnered 200K in earned radio, TV, and digital impressions, and notable print placements in Forbes, BuzzFeed, Detroit Free Press, and Black Enterprise. And lastly, they reached over 1.4 million people across the owned and earned social media channels. And even more importantly, Ally was so impressed with the talent, the company ended up offering internships to all 50 students, resulting in 15 interns with diverse skill sets working throughout the organization. And finally, let's take a look at Dairy Queen, a company who strengthened consumer connectivity by taking a relatively intuitive hypothesis to the streets to demonstrate one of its core brand values. Now, the business challenge was that Dairy Queen competes with some real giants like McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's. And while these large companies outspend Dairy Queen, the brand has strong consumer loyalty and is in the top 25 in most loved brands in America. So every year, Dairy Queen celebrates Free Cone Day. But after 5 years, interest in Free Cone Day had begun to plateau. So Dairy Queen needed a new hook to kick off its season. And at the same time, Dairy Queen had a new brand positioning and tagline to launch, rooted in happiness, joyfulness, and emotion. So how could Dairy Queen launch its new tagline in a new and exciting way for consumers? That is when the Free Cone Day Happy Hypothesis campaign was born. The brand flipped its free cone day promotion into a nationwide study, encouraging all fans to participate by visiting their local store to get a free cone. Through primary research, the Dairy Queen team proved its soft serve cones made people happy. The fun, tongue-in-cheek survey results fueled earned media coverage and social conversation for the brand and its Free Cone Day initiative, driving fans in-store to celebrate the sweet start of a new Dairy Queen season. The campaign garnered a 10% year-over-year increase in traffic and 23% year-over-year increase in cones given, as well as an increase in net sales 12% year-over-year. Now, in closing, let's consider this. We know over 60% of Americans drink coffee daily, and even more drink it at least once a week. We also know that most coffee drinkers want to buy what is good for the environment, for coffee farmers, and for communities in which they live. We also know that specialty coffee is growing the fastest in the industry, driven by those under 60 years old at rapid rates. So here's the deal. There is a new badge of honor in the new era, and it begins with this understanding. First, showing up in unexpected ways, especially during consumer moments that matter, is gold. Second, inclusivity is a must, and community impact is essential. And finally, third, brands are what they measure, and consumers are searching for brands that align with their personal values. I leave you with this final question. How will you lead your teams into the new era? Thank you.